and welcome to the Smith Leadership Consulting Group. You know, I want to get straight at it tonight, and you know, I like talking about leadership, developing leaders. I want to give everything I have so that way the things that I know, the things that I've learned for almost 3 decades of my service in various levels of leadership. But leaders must be developed, and it just don't happen by osmosis. We have to mentor, coach, and develop those subordinates that we have influence over. And I use the term subordinates as a way of saying those that may not be at your level, that are inspiring to be at the next level or your level. So, but leadership, we get all the subjects on what good leaders are. We get all the attributes on what makes a good leader. But this quick conversation that I want to have, I want to talk about the things that a leader should not possess. Because truth be told, if you work on not possessing these things, it's going to help you become a good leader and help you once you have arrived, you have some experience, tacit experience. These will help you stay at that level and to ensure that you can be a servant leader, that you can serve, and you can be a leader who can inspire. Because there ain't too many leaders who can inspire. And you want to be a leader that can inspire. So I want to talk about things that leaders should not possess. And these things you have to work on. Because these things, they're easy to come by. And I call these my deadly vowels. The deadly vowels of leadership. And the first one that I want to talk about is A. And it stands for arrogance. Arrogance. Arrogance is that trait or lack thereof to think that, I know it all. I don't need nobody to tell me nothing because I know this. I've done these things in the past and I'm good. And you're just arrogant. And you look down on somebody else because believe it or not, the less experienced, you can always learn something from the less experienced. Have you ever been around a leader that's just arrogant, that don't want to hear nothing you got to say? And really, you are there just to be there. So arrogance is a trait that you should not possess. You must always make sure you remain humble. Humility will take you a long way. So arrogance breeds complacency. Because being an arrogant leader, nobody can tell you nothing, and you think you know it all, and then you stop getting sets and reps in other words, practicing, because you're so arrogant. So A for arrogance. That is one thing that you have to make sure you work on that you don't possess, because it's easy. The next thing is E for ego. I've seen egos kill more individuals than IEDs. Their ego. We all got to work on keeping your ego in check. Ego is a close brother to arrogance. They're close, they're related in family. Because the definition that they're close, they're similar. But when your ego gets to the point where your ego is bigger than your servant towel, we got a problem. So you want to make sure that you keep your ego in check. Because that ego, it can kill your career. That ego can make individuals not want to be around you. So you got to make sure that you keep your ego in check. And so the next thing, we talked about arrogance. We talked about ego. Now I want to talk about I for individual. Individual, we often always said there's no I in team. So being an individual means that you're all for self. All you care about is taking care of yourself first. Now, all good leaders, absolutely, they should make sure that themselves you're always taking care of. But first, you want to make sure you take care of your people. You set your people up. Because folks Once they know that you care about them, they'll follow you. And they know that you have their best individual. So being on a team, and all leaders must always understand that they are on a team, they are part of the team. They're not bigger or better than the team. So you cannot have that individual mindset that is all about me. I, me. So leaders, they put the folks that they have influence over, they always put them first. They always set them up. They always have a vision for them. And yourself, you should always come last. Because that's what leaders do. As Simon Sinek once said that, hey, leaders eat last. It's a testament that, hey, your people should eat before you. So we use that as a metaphor that, hey, take care of your people first. And then yourself should come last. And so a leader should not have that individual mindset. So we talked about arrogance. We talked about ego. We talked about individual. The next one we're going to talk about is O. And O is for the one. As a leader, you cannot put that aura about yourself that you are the one. You're the one that wake up in the morning and you cut the sun on. And you're the one that at the night you turn the sun off. You ever work with those individuals that is all about them, the one. The sun sets and rises with their permission. In which you see that these things they're akin to the same family here. Because these are selfish traits that the leader should not possess. But these things, they could just happen. But you have to work. You have to work and develop yourself to make sure that you don't possess these traits. Because as a leader, you are always being observed. Folks are looking at you. Those individuals that you have influence over, they are always observing everything that you do. And it counts. So don't have the trait or the aura of being the one. Because it's a turnoff. And you will lose the folks that you have influence over. And the last deadly vowel that I want to talk about is called U, for unapproachable. U for unapproachable. Every leader must be approachable. That means, leadership is exhaustive. And those who seek to be in leadership roles, you must understand that you have to be approachable for those that you have influence over. Because if you are unapproachable and they cannot come to you, seek you out for advice, then your organization or your institution don't need you. What good are you if you're not approachable? So you must be approachable. And so that's probably the most deadly of all the deadly vows, being unapproachable. Leaders, you must continue to be approachable to those folks that you have influence over. Because that is the tax that you have to pay to be in a leadership role. Because remember I said you should always have your stuff together. You got to always continue to self-develop yourself. But you got to make sure that you have a vision for those folks that you have influence over. So those deadly vowels, those are the deadly vowels that you must be on guard. You have to make sure that you don't possess these things. Now, sometimes, hey, we get the big head and we get the accolades and, our superiors, even those folks that you have influence over, tell you the best thing since bread. And everybody's waiting on you hand and feet. And sometimes you might start to think, I'm really that good. So you must make sure that you stay on guard to protect yourself from these deadly vowels. Because these deadly vowels, they will sink you as a leader. And remember, leaders, you have an obligation to give everything that you have to build more leaders. Because that's what leaders do. And leaders must be of the highest of character and integrity. So I like to say, these are the things that, as I prefaced earlier, these are the things that leaders, they must stay on guard. And these are the things that leaders, we must internally develop. And believe it or not, when you work on these things, those individuals that you have influence over, they observe these things. And you are developing them not to possess these traits as well, because they see that in you. Because I'm here to tell you that the folks that you have influence over, when they get to those leadership roles and those levels of leadership, they revert back to what was mentored and taught to them. And they replicate the exact same thing that their leaders. And so oftentimes we don't want them to replicate those bad things, or we don't want them to, say, okay, to be a good leader, I've been around all these bad individuals that did show me all the bad stuff, so I can't. Those are the things not to learn how to be a good leader off of. So I'll just leave you with that, and until we chat again from the Smith Leadership Consulting Group, have a great day.